Greetings and welcome to the Healthy Sales Chick Show. I am Nancy White, the host of this show, and here we love to talk about a healthy mind, our body, and our spirit. And we need to nurture all three every single day, or one of those areas are going to let us know it's been left out. As my dear friend and founder of Win Win Women TV, Paula Fellingham, always says, we welcome you with open arms and open hearts. I have a question for you. When was the last time that you really nurtured your cells and made them happy and healthy? Well, again, we love to have amazing guests, and our guests help us to realize different ways that we can nurture that mind, that body, and that spirit naturally, but also it's one of those things is a lifelong for all of us. I have a beautiful, amazing guest this evening, Ingafay Cavitt. Inga, I'm so grateful that you're with us.
Oh, well, thank you for having me, Nancy. I'm so grateful to be here, girl.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to talk because about some of the things that we're going to touch on tonight. And we are going to touch on some things that are going to have a real interest to a lot of people that we don't hear about very much because they're introverts. But we're going to just talk about authenticity and the use of your innate gifts to walk out your passion. That's for everybody. This is all for everybody, but we're going to focus on some really neat things that Inga Faye has got an expertise in. We're also going to touch on confidence, grow to be the best version of yourself. And another area that so many people go, I'm chicken, but you do it afraid. You walk out your purpose to be a blessing to others and yourself.
Right.
Just a little bit about Inga. She is AKA, her name is Inga Fashion Cavitt, but AKA, we all know her as Inga Faye, and she is always a lights up a room, but she is an authenticity strategist. Have you ever heard of one of those before? Well, you're going to find out what that is this evening. But she left her engineering career to follow her entrepreneurial spirit and now pursues her dream life full of faith, family, freedom, flexibility, and fitness. I love all her F's. She also enjoys empowering female entrepreneurs with introverted tendencies to live their best life and help them become top earners. Yes, top earners by using authentic lead generation and sales strategies that treat people like humans and not numbers. She also hosts her collaborative interview podcast you're going to hear more about too. But Inga, I am so grateful for you. And I just know you've done so many things in your past, especially in your engineering field and then helping women over the years. But with all that you've experienced, could you share what it was that guided you to where you are today?
Well, thank you for having me first and foremost, Nancy. So, how did I get here? Back in 2020, right before COVID, I got laid off. And that was kind of my line in the sand where I had to decide what I was going to do next. I always had aspirations of being a full-time entrepreneur, that at the time of this change, life change, I'll say, I was somewhat pondering on what I was going to do. Was I going to find another engineering job, or was I going to really walk out what I really was dreaming about for years? So I decided to take that leap of faith. Lo and behold, not knowing that COVID was just around the corner, because actually I'll say my second Independence Day is February 1st of 2020. So it's almost been 5 years since I've made that leap. And during that time, I was really excited about this new aspect of my life, something that I had been dreaming about forever. What kind of impact I would be able to make, what kind of things I would be able to do that I wasn't able to do when I was working. First and foremost, the thing that I absolutely love was that I was able to attend all of my son's middle school games because I didn't have somebody telling me that I had to be at a job at a particular time. I could work my schedule around my son's activities that really allowed me to be there and cheer him on. Something that I will never, I mean, at this point, no one can ever take that away from me because that was an experience that I treasure so much. In addition to that, I've had the opportunity to grow and expand in more ways than I ever thought I would because entrepreneurship is the best self self-growth type of experience that you would ever experience, because you are counting on you, as my mom has always told me, counting on number one. And when you're counting on number one, you don't have anybody to blame but yourself. You got to figure it out. FIO. That becomes my mantra. You got to FIO, Inga, because if you don't FIO, you don't have anybody else to blame but yourself, because it's on you. It's your creativity, it's your innovation, it is your mindset that is going to really trail you where you want to go, whether that be to be a top earner or whether that be to decide, okay, I don't think this is for me, I'm going to go do something different. But you are in control of that. So that was really the line in the sand that really helped me come to where I am now. And because of all the things that were going on in COVID, I started my entrepreneurship in direct sales. So all before, I had mentors that I could go to and ask questions. But when COVID happened, nobody knew what to do. Everybody had to pivot, right? So we were just kind of out there trying to figure it out. And that's when I discovered my introverted superpowers, I'll call them, that I wasn't aware that I had before, because before that, I was faking that I was being an extrovert. And I always wondered why I always was so tired at the end of the day, because I was expending all of this social energy. My social battery was down to zero when I came to the end of the day. And I really just wanted to be by myself and not really talk, because that's what us introverts do. We recharge by ourselves. So that's when it really hit me like, duh, Inga, that's why you've been going through all of this, all of these years, faking yourself out, thinking that you're coming off as an extrovert when you're truly are not. But now that you're working to figure out how you're going to do this in a different way, because you had to figure out it because of COVID, now you're becoming more aware of your innate gifts that you've been sleeping on all this time. So as a
Wow.
result of that, now I want to help other people that have similar qualities as me to rise up in entrepreneurship, to let go of those common things that people talk about. Introverts are antisociable. Introverts can't be leaders. Introverts can't be entrepreneurs. Yada 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 yada.
I
But
know all that chatter. Well,
yeah,
first,
exactly.
well,
So I want to
first,
shatter all of those myths and really just help my fellow female entrepreneurs with introverted tendencies level up and do this thing big.
well, I think that is fantastic. And first and foremost, I really want to commend you because your son is going to remember all those cheering on, going, that's my mom, and then cheering for me. And sometimes
Yep.
when it's our children, we all become extroverts, especially
Yes,
when we see
exactly.
things. But I think that's fantastic. That is a gift that you cannot put a price on.
For
And both
sure.
of you will remember that all your lives. And so, and I think it's really interesting too, because when I was going to ask you this question, and you said it right away, how introverts recharge, and it is getting by themselves. My daughter is one, and she's a speech therapist at a children's cancer hospital, and she's always having to talk all day long and
Right.
promote and do things. But then she just needs to have that quiet, that peaceful time to be able to recharge. And so when you talk about authenticity, a lot of times you said, you weren't being authentic,
No.
because you were promoting and as an extrovert. So how do people even know? I mean, we talk to ourselves all the time anyway, so we might as well ask the question, Ingafay. So how do we know if we really are being authentic?
Well, I think it comes down to you really being in tune with yourself. I think oftentimes we get into this copycat mode that we feel like we have to be like somebody else to be as successful as they are. And that was my thing when I was doing it, because I saw the people around me, they were extroverts. So of course, what are extroverts going to teach you? They're going to teach you how to be an extrovert.
Yeah.
So that is what I felt like I needed to do to be successful, because I wanted to mimic their success. But what I soon realized when I really had the time to think about it and ponder over it and kind of figure out ways that really made me feel good inside and be aware of that some of the things that they were telling me to do weren't right for me.
Mhm.
So it was just really kind of a self-awareness and being in tune with who I was and not trying to be somebody else, that's when it became very apparent that's what I needed to do.
Mhm.
And I think it also is it's a trait of being confident too,
Mhm.
because you have to be able to be confident in yourself to be able to say, okay, I see they're doing that, but I'm not going to do that because that doesn't feel good to me. Even though I've seen so many other people do it that way, it does not feel good to me inside. So that's why I'm not going to do it just because
I,
they're,
I love it because when we get that gnawing kind of feeling that's
yeah,
going, "Ew, yuck, I just need that. I don't want to do this."
right.
It's not you and it's not
Yep.
right for you. And because people, I love to go with the flow. I mean, I've gone through enough stuff, and you have too, where we want to go with the flow and become our best versions of ourselves first and
Right.
foremost, and then finding other people too that have those same challenges as what you were doing. We were talking earlier about how you're doing some of your webinars and how you're doing some things and really attracting the introverts to be able to share with them ways. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit too, because
Right.
you have developed a lot of amazing things with your engineering brain, Ingafay. And so when you talk about confidence also, it does have to grow. And it does, I think one of the best things for confidence is for us just to stop for a minute and just sort of look back and look at the things that we've accomplished. And,
Exactly.
just to be able to acknowledge it, to be able to recognize the things. Yes, I did that. And it's not being braggadocious, and you can
Right.
do it in a humble way. You don't have to be, conceited about it. But I think confidence grows just like you're talking about. And so, um, and encouraging each one to do that, because we know in this day and time, everything else keeps beating down. And then we have to keep fighting back. And we have to fight
Right.
back. So when you talk about, sometimes like doing things afraid, just to walk out your purpose, can you remember a time that you did something when you were afraid?
Yeah, I'm like right in it right now. So I'd say back in May, I had this premonition that I wanted to do some kind of local networking event.
Mhm.
And I didn't know how I was gonna do it. It was just on my heart. So I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna get it going so I can do it like in the fall. And the fall is here. Well, I was working with one of my coaches and I was telling her about how in addition to that, I wanted to do a live workshop
Mhm.
to serve more people in their introverted community and be more visible, basically, to let people know that I'm here to help them. And she was just like, well, Inga, you should just do it. Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna put this together. I've been working on it since July, how I was gonna put everything together. And I don't know, I was just starting to spaz. And I was just like, come on, Inga, you gotta do it. So I literally forced myself to do it. I came up with my curriculum. I got my logo done. I got the name of it. It's called Never Run Out of Leads, live workshop. So it's really, I mean, when somebody hears that, they know exactly what we're gonna do when we come in. And then I was just like, well, I can call my workshop Never Run Out of Leads, and then I can call my local meetup Never Run Out of Leads too, because it's really the same thing. And I was just like, duh, okay, so we're putting all this together. And initially, I was going to do my meetup on the 24th of this month. And then I was going to do my workshop on the 17th. So it was like a week
Mhm.
difference. And I was just like, okay, Inga, you're getting a little too rambunctious here to think you're going to be able to pull these two events off within a week. I mean, within a week's difference. So no, we got to push this back. So I ended up changing the dates. I changed the live workshop to the 24th. I changed the meetup till the 7th of November. So I settled on where I was going to do the local meetup. So that kind of rest assured that but it was just all of me just putting all this together and being that it was been on my heart and how I was going to figure it out. And one of the things that I have learned in my tenure of entrepreneurship is that you have to take the first step. You have to start. So
Mhm.
once you start, oftentimes people don't want to start because they are not sure what they're gonna how it's gonna come together. But I know through my tenure as an entrepreneur that when you start, then the next step is revealed to you when you step out of your comfort zone.
I think that's called faith. I think
Yeah.
it's called we're
Yes.
walking with our eyes closed.
Yeah,
And I'm
you're definitely
trusting
walking with
you.
your eyes closed.
Yeah.
So I knew that once I set these dates, that everything else was going to fall in place. And it has, as far as me getting the venue, me finishing up my workshop, getting all the graphics together. Now it's just promoting it and then promoting the meetup as well. And it's just coming together. I just had to walk it out. That's basically what you have to do. So for anyone that's listening or watching today, and you're wondering how you can build your confidence muscle, I can tell you that you build your confidence muscle by doing things outside of your comfort zone, and you do those things repeatedly. And then you have that muscle memory or that mindset memory that, hey, I did X, Y, and Z before. I can definitely do A, B, and C now. And because you
Absolutely.
have that muscle memory, that's what literally pushes you out when you're scared as all get out of how it's going to work out. But because you stepped out on faith, like Nancy said, that you're able to, um, you know, persevere and make it happen.
Absolutely. And you also mentioned something that was really very important. You mentioned coach, but it's also great to have a mentor or an
Oh, yeah.
accountability person, because it's always great to have somebody cheering you on, especially when you said, I'm going to do this. And they're going to go, okay, I'm going to put it on my calendar and I'm going to, check in with you or whatever to see how you're coming along. And
Right.
then, Inga Faye, that's another thing, for women, a lot of times we don't want to ask for advice or guidance or help, because I just like the little, I don't call it stubbornness, I call it tenacity. I can do it myself. But we
Yeah.
have to be able to ask for guidance and help, especially from people that have done it, because they can
Right.
give you some tips what not to do, which is even better than
Exactly.
the what to do. And so I'm so excited, and I'm looking forward to, even if participating. Another thing too that I will just offer a suggestion to, Inga Face, like when you're promoting and doing this for your workshops, asking questions the brain's always going to answer, whether we verbally answer it or not. But be
Right.
realistic. Are you going to be able to come and be able to participate for, whatever? And then are you going to put it to use? Are you going to take action? Because I
Right.
don't know about you, but I mean, I've been an entrepreneur for almost 40 years now, which sounds like a lot. It is a long time. But I have bought a lot of things, a lot of trainings and stuff over the years and never finished them. And
Right.
I think it's really important for us to, when we invest, and that's what it is, we're investing in our business, we're investing in our personal development, you know, just because it sounds great and you want to do it, it's not like somebody comes up with a magic wand and goes, okay, here, bonk, you're good, you're
Right.
prepared.
Right.
You have to be able to put it to use.
Yes.
Have
And I
you
think
done any
that's,
of that?
yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, I so agree with you with that too. And the thing about, I've been in different masterminds and different
Mhm.
courses and trainings, and that's one of the things that resonates with me the most, is that sometimes people feel like if they spend this money, they're going to magically have whatever they're supposed to have, and they don't have to do any work. And
Mhm.
that's the transformation. That's where the transformation comes, in the doing. You
Mhm.
can learn it, you can know it, but if you don't apply it, then what's the point, you know?
Mhm.
So yeah, I think that's a very important thing to remind people about, that that's the battle.
Mhm.
You want to know it, and then you want to act on it. Because if you know it and don't act on it, it's just like not knowing it.
I
My
know.
mom used to always use the analogy that, you can write the letter, but if you don't send it, then what's the point, you know?
Well, I
So,
had I had a real life experience about that today too, Inga Faye. So when I went to my physical therapy for my shoulder that I've been rehabbing, the guy said, "Oh my gosh, you can move. There's so much improvement, since the first time I worked with you." I said, "I guess the work pays off, huh?"
yep,
Yeah,
yep.
you got to do the work,
You got to
and
do the work
yeah, but it is, and that starts where?
in the
In
mind.
the mind.
That's right.
It
Yep, it
does. It
starts in the
really
mind.
does. I'm
And
like,
people, and yeah, your mind controls everything.
mhm,
It absolutely controls everything. So
mhm,
if you have stinking thinking going on, you're not going to be as creative, you're not going to be as innovative. You're
mhm,
not going to see what's right in front of you. Instead of seeing opportunity, you're going to actually see obstacles. And it's really
mhm,
just perspective. that,
Mhm.
one thing can happen to one person and one sees opportunity and the other sees obstacles. And that's going to determine how you act. Are you going to sit on your hands and feel like you can't do something? Or are you going to FIO, like I said earlier, and figure
Mhm.
it out? So,
Yeah. So, what have been some things that have helped you, especially with mindset? I mean, I was even talking to a doctor today and had a one-on-one, and we were talking about how you do take control of your mind. There's certain things that you can think about, there's certain things that we can do to protect that mindset and protect, against other people's negativities coming
right,
in.
right. And I guess the first thing that comes to mind to me is the importance of writing down your wins.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes in entrepreneurship and really just in life in general, we always have these huge goals that we're working for, right? And we see ourselves down here and we want to be up here.
Mm-hmm.
But the small wins are what's going to add up to get us to where we want to be. So it's very imperative that we journal those small wins. Because I know for me, when I write those wins down on a daily basis, it just gives me hope. Okay, well, I'm not there yet, but look what I did today that's going to help me get closer to where I want to be. Another thing is just being around positive people that are
Mm-hmm.
doing big things. Because when you're around people that are doing big things and you talk to them and they tell you what they're doing, and then you look at them, you're like, well, they're no different than me. I can do, if they can do it, I know I can do it too. So that kind of entices you to do more than what you would have done before. And then last but definitely not least is that you're always learning. You're always learning something new. And you're not just learning it. When you learn it, you immediately apply it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can make make that be the better version of yourself. You're getting better today and every day. So you're better today than you were yesterday. So you want to continuously improve on yourself and not maintain,
Absolutely.
because when you're maintaining, you're falling behind. But if you're improving, you're definitely going ahead.
And as us girls love to do, is we love to share things that we learn with other girls,
Oh, exactly.
especially, and that even strengthens it even more so when we, are paying it forward. And another
Right.
area too, I think is really important is our heart and being grateful and having that
Oh, yeah, for
heart
sure. For
attitude. Oh
sure.
my gosh, because I think like you're talking about the things that you write down, the things you accomplished or whatever, if you can really just stop and have that grateful and have that gratitude and that thankful heart, you know, we want to not, we know that it's not all about us. We know that we're here, just for this short season or whatever it is, but it's the what we sow in to the relationships with other people. But it's amazing, just like to have you guide and you use your gifts and talents and your knowledge and wisdom and understanding, Ingafay, to be able to impart that into others. What an amazing privilege and a blessing that is for you and them.
Yes, yes, yes. I totally enjoy it. It gives me so much joy to be able to encourage and impact another woman's life, lessen that learning curve for her so she can achieve her goal that much faster. It just warms my heart.
It does. It really does. And I think, when we talk about collaborations and teamwork and, we were talking a little bit too about, referral partners. There is so much that women in business really can tap into as a support and doesn't cost, big bucks or anything, does not
Right.
have to, but just finding two willing spirits and that are both, same heart centered, the same kind of mindset where you can strengthen each other, I think is really important. And sometimes women think, where do I find it? Blah, blah, blah. Well,
Right.
you and I have been doing a lot of networking, and, you do come across people that you connect with, you
Yeah,
sleep
you
with.
do. Yep. I almost think it's almost like dating, I think. That
Hmm.
when I remember one of my girlfriends, her name, well, I call her G, her nickname. And we met in the same networking organization that we've been affiliated with for a while. But I remember when she was talking, I was just like, it's something about her. She's cool. And it was just, and she said the same thing about me. And it was just like, oh yeah, she's gonna be my girlfriend. I can tell because we just vibed and it was just a great connection. So making sure that you are, having that positive energy so you really attract somebody that's really powerful like that, I think is awesome too. So yeah, be mindful of that, because when you keep that positive energy and you have that positivity around you, you're going to attract more positivity to you. Exactly.
Mhm.
Not saying that everything's going to be um, going your way, but like I said before, it's perspective. When something
Mhm.
happens to you, you're going to see it as an opportunity where others will see it as an obstacle.
Absolutely. So, just thinking back over the women, the introverts that you've already helped and sewed into, what are some of the questions that you keep hearing over and over again from these women that are introverts?
A lot of them are wanting to rise above the traditional ways of selling that's in your face, that makes them feel really icky. That's really has a lot of competition and masculine energy to
Mhm.
it. They are more interested in using their feminine energy, that which is more collaborative. They view entrepreneurship as a team sport, and they want to collectively work with other women to grow together to build their businesses. So that's, I guess that's the biggest thing that I've heard a lot about, and they're kind of fearful of doing it a different way
Mhm.
because they've seen that the other way works, although they don't like the way it makes them feel.
Yeah.
So being able to step out of that comfort zone to be able to try something different and then do the work as we keep talking about, taking
Mhm.
the action to implement the new strategies to really make their business work. And then in addition to that, also people relying on referrals
Mhm.
only for their business. I think referrals are great for people that have established their target market and their niche, and they have had some success in their business. But when you're first starting out, I don't think referrals are really the place to be, because you need to find out who you actually are wanting to serve.
Mhm.
It seems initially when people just start off their business, they have the mentality that they want to serve everybody. And then when they, in actuality, when they serve everybody, they're really serving no one. So
Mhm.
making sure that they truly understand who their person is, who they're looking for. So when they find her or him, they can say, ah, that's Amy, or ah, that's Billy Bob, because that's who I'm looking for. They have these qualities.
I
So,
love it. And the other thing, Inga, too, is that even people that have been in business, for years, it's okay to, step back, refresh, rebrand, whatever it is, because definitely we've seen changes in technology,
oh
especially
yeah,
you as an engineer, over the years too. But it's perfectly fine just to you don't have to stay stuck, where you
right.
started. And so you want to keep evolving. And I think it's like refreshing. It's like, when
Hmm.
you get a new haircut or you try something new kind of makeup or whatever it is,
Right.
you need to keep refreshing your business too.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
So I knew our time was going to go flying by.
It
It
did.
does.
It
It always
did.
flies when you have fun. So, are there any other tips that you have for introverts or that just come to your heart or mind that you would love to share?
I would just say, just trust your gut. If something doesn't feel good to you, go, I mean, know that go with that, and then find ways, or find another way that feels better to you. I mean, because I know that's how I came up with the different strategies that I have inside of my framework
Mhm.
for my authentic sales accelerator. It was because things that didn't feel good to me, I didn't do. Things that did, that's what I implemented, and then really worked them to make those strategies be successful for me and others.
I
So,
think that is so fantastic. So you spoke a little bit about, some of the things that are coming up, and you've got an incredible podcast also. So, but what is the easiest way for people to get in touch with you, Inga?
yeah, so the easiest way for people to connect is just go to my website, ingafay.com. For those that are watching on video, you can just scan the QR code. Well, this one over here. Yeah, you can scan the QR code to take you directly to my website.
Mhm.
And Ingafay is spelled INGA, F as in Frank, AY.com. So that
I
would be
love
the
how
best place. It has
simple
all my
you keep it.
socials and everything. So,
Well, I am so grateful again. And we just might have to have a next exciting episode too, Inga Faye, because you just touched on the very surface of what you're doing to really just up level introverts and let they can have hope that they can be successful and they don't have to compare, to anybody else, but being successful in right where they are and using their gifts and their talents too.
Yes. Yes, yes,
Thank
yes.
you again. And I want to encourage everyone, check out some of the other Win-Win Women TV shows. We've got incredible other hosts, and it's a great place you can come to anytime, day or night, to become encouraged, inspired, and educated. And visit us again next week. I'm here every Wednesday evening at 7 o'clock. And you can go to my website, thehealthysaleschick.com. And I'd love to hear what you're doing for your healthy self-care. And if there's areas that you would love to tweak or whatever, I bet with my 30 or 40 years of wisdom and experience, I can probably give you some good suggestions on some ways to be able to enhance your healthy lifestyle, both physically and financially. And that's what it's all about, isn't it, Ingafay?
That's right. It sure
It
is.
is. Oh, again, thank you so much for your amazing time.
Thank you for having me.